Alright, just to follow up on the radiator. I started this job probably about 9:30 this morning, and the radiator did show up as I was taking the other ones out. But what a job this was to do this radiator. First thing you got to do is you got to disconnect this air temp sensor. This measures the air temp, I guess. I take that off, take this off, take the air cleaner off, and you take this top bracket off. I couldn't do a video as I was doing it because it was very windy here, and it's a little chilly anyway. But once you do that, the fan in the back, it's got clips like this that the fan clips on the back. You got to take your fan off. You don't have to disconnect no wires, just push the fan in the back. And this is the air conditioner condenser. You pull this up, off, and you get the radiator off. But what you got to do first is you got to take the transmission cooling lines off. And this was the biggest problem of the day, was the bottom one. I guess from all the rust and everything, the transmission line and the nut was in one unit. So every time you turned this nut, the line would move. Now this one here on the top came right off, but as you see down here, that the transmission line for the top has got a little clamp here. So I can just buy this whole little unit for the top and undo this. But the bottom is all pressure. It's all pre-pressured in one unit. So you got to take the whole line off on the transmission if you had to do it. But I actually got it off. I went back and forth with it. I put some penetrating oil in it, in here, and I put my line wrench on it, and I held it, and I went back and forth very slowly until I can get that nut a little loose. The more I did back and forth, she loosened up. I finally got it out. When I did put it back on, I had this car running. I'm letting it cool now. The transmission line was leaking. So I went down here with the line wrench again and tightened it up. I didn't want to snap the line, but I did tighten it as much as I can. Worst comes to worst, you would take that line back out, go buy another line. You probably got to get it at the dealer or a junkyard. But I got it tightened. I got no transmission leaks. I did run the car. All you got to do is you got to fill your radiator up all the way. Put your heat on full on the heat, and this is a little bleeder screw. You take this bleeder screw out as you're filling it, and the air will come out of here. But all the air ain't going to come out until that thermostat opens up. So you open the bleeder screw. I had some antifreeze come out, and then the antifreeze stopped. So I did fill up my overflow. I had the overflow filled on cold. I filled the radiator up, and the radiator kept going down. So I put about 1.5 gallons of antifreeze in here. As the moment I had it running, the heat's nice and hot. She did open up the temperature. She went up over the gauge, and then she comes down. That's how you know your thermostat opens up. When that temperature gauge rises over 1/4, it goes up over the 1/4, and then it drops. When you see it drop, your thermostat opens up. You're letting the cool air, the cool antifreeze back into the block from the fans and all of that. And now your temperature goes down. Then it heats up again, and then she runs in normal operating temperature. So I had this car running. Then the temperature opened up. Now I'm going to let it cool down completely. Tomorrow morning, I'll open up this radiator cap and top it off. And she should be alright. I don't have no leaks. I did check it all out. But I'm going to show you the old radiator. Hoses. I'll get back to that in a moment. She was leaking right here. She was leaking here. Now this is plastic, this is aluminum. You can see this little crack, this little hairline crack here. Hold on. bear with me. Right here is a hairline crack. You see that hairline crack? When this radiator gets hot and expands, that's where the leak was coming from. So I was told that if you got stream cold and a stream hot, the expansion back and forth plus the brittle of the old aged radiator, it cracked. I did put some new radiator hoses on. These have to be about 12 years old. I did change them when the car was 10 years old because it was leaking by the heater hoses. So I did change new radiator hoses on this car. But as you see, these ain't too bad. But you had them off anyway, so you might as well take the other two clamps off from the thermostat and the one that went to the block. This is the one that went to the block. By the water pump. There's no water pumps like the old water pumps where it goes to the water pump. This just goes to the block itself and the water pump slides on. But the radiator hoses ain't too bad here. I probably could have got away with using these, but a shout out to Bad Billy, because he said for me to change the radiator hoses, and that's a smart thing to do. You got all this antifreeze drained, you're pulling the radiator out. I got these 25% off. This bottom hose was $25.99 at Advanced Auto, and the top was $17.99, but I got 25% off. So I got this for about 20 bucks, and this one for about 13 or something. Came out to like $37 because I bought some clamps which can go back because they were too big. I needed the smaller ones, which I had here. I'm not in my garage home because I got tons of clamps and all this stuff. I'm away, and sure enough, your radiator has to go when you're away. But I'm lucky it wasn't on a highway. So that's my job for today. And the antifreeze, this is concentrated antifreeze. This ain't 50-50. They sell the 50-50 for like 14 bucks. And you can buy this one for $17. This was $18.99 in advance, but I got it on sale, 20% off. And I got this antifreeze for $15.28. Cheaper than Walmart. But this is concentrated. So what I did, instead of spending $28 for two 50-50s, I bought a gallon of this, and I got some water, filtered water, and I boiled that also. I boiled it to get all the stuff out of it, and I mixed half and half. I had an old antifreeze container, and what you do is you take the antifreeze and divide it and put them in here, and then you fill it up with water. So now you got a 50-50 mix of antifreeze. Alright, that's my job for today. I hope this video was okay.